Hey you guys, today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about using Cricut's Infusible Ink Markers and transfer sheets on 3 different surfaces. So let's begin. First, you're going to need a Cricut machine. I'm using my Explore Air 2. Then you're going to need transfer sheets. These come in a ton of colors. And then I'm also going to show you guys how to use the transfer sheets that are printed with the design. This one is marble. And I'm going to use some markers. The materials I'm going to show you are a tote bag, a t-shirt, and ceramic coasters. First, I'm going to show you how to use the Infusible Ink transfer sheets to make custom coasters. Go ahead and open up your machine and then open up Design Space. If you want the image to be a full blade or go all the way to the edges, make sure it's a little bit larger than the size of the coaster. Then, when you're ready, go ahead and click Make It. Make sure to mirror your design for all Infusible Ink transfers. Set the material to Custom, and then in the Design Space software, go ahead and select Transfer Sheets. Your machine will then tell you to load the material. Once it's loaded, then go ahead and press the Cricut logo to begin. The machine will begin preparing and then cutting. Then press the double arrows to unload the mat, and we're ready to get started. Carefully remove the transfer sheet from the mat. Then use scissors to cut away any extra material. You can use this later. Since I cut 2 coaster designs on one sheet, I'm going to cut this into 2 pieces. Gently roll the material to allow the design to crack. Don't use any tools to remove this. They could actually scratch the ink on the material. So you're just going to want to use your hands to remove the negative space on the design. I like to start on the inside of the design and then remove all the extra around the image. And then before doing any Infusible Ink project, I recommend going to Cricut.com/heat guide to double check the time and temperature you need to set your EasyPress to. For coasters, that's going to be 400 degrees Fahrenheit at 240 seconds. So plug in your EasyPress and go ahead and set the time and temperature. While it's preheating, grab a microfiber cloth and wipe down the shiny side of the coasters. You don't want any dust or lint on the image because it can actually affect the way the ink transfers. Place a plain sheet of cardstock on top of your EasyPress mat, and then put the coaster with the white shiny side up on top of the cardstock. Place your Infusible Ink transfer paper face down on the coaster. Press it down to make sure it's adhered, and then flip it over. Then with the coaster face down, place a clean sheet of butcher paper on top. Carefully place the EasyPress on top and then press the Cricut logo to begin. You don't need to put any pressure on this, so just let it sit and wait for it to transfer. Then carefully lift the EasyPress directly up and place it back in the plate. The coasters are going to be extremely hot, so you're going to want to wait until they're completely cool before removing the butcher paper and then the transfer sheet. And then once cooled, you can carefully lift the transfer sheet to reveal your beautiful design. And that's it. It's ready to be used. Next, I'm going to show you how to use pattern transfer sheets on a tote bag. Like before, you're going to prepare your design in Design Space. Like before, you're going to want to make sure you mirror your design. On the Cricut machine, make sure you set it to Custom, and then in the Design software, you're going to select Transfer Sheets. Place your material on a standard grip mat and load it in the machine. Once loaded, go ahead and press the Cricut logo to begin cutting. Press the double arrows to unload the mat, then double check your temperature settings on the heat guide. For this project, that's 385 degrees Fahrenheit at 40 seconds. Go ahead and set your machine to the correct time and temperature. And actually, I prefer to set this for 15 seconds first because we're going to need to pre-treat the fabric. And I'll show you that in just a second. And then just like before, you're going to want to trim away any extra material so you can use it later. Then gently roll the paper to crack the design and release the image. Use your fingers to carefully weed away any extra material. And then for any garment projects, you need to pre-treat the fabric. It's really simple. What you're going to do is carefully place the mat inside the bag and then place a sheet of cardstock on top of the mat. Then use a lint roller to gently remove any lint that may be in the area where you want to put your image. Place a clean sheet of butcher paper on top and then place the EasyPress on top for 15 seconds. This is a very important step. It removes any extra moisture that might be in the material and it smooths it out, getting it ready for a great transfer. Allow the bag to cool completely before continuing. Once cool, place your image face down on the bag. Use your hands to smooth out the transfer and make sure it's adhered to the bag. Then place a clean sheet of butcher paper on top and then place your EasyPress on top. For this one, you're going to want to use light pressure for the entire 40 seconds. When the timer is up, use one hand on the butcher paper and the other hand to lift up the easy press. Allow the bag to cool slightly and then carefully remove your transfer. And then you can see how the ink is totally infused in the fabric. For the last project, I'm going to show you how to use the Infusible Ink Markers on a t-shirt. There are tons of designs ready to go in the Cricut Access in Design Space. You can also create your own design. You just want to make sure you select Draw for any part that you want drawn and then pick specifically what marker colors you're going to use. Like before, you're going to want to make sure you mirror your design. Set the dial on your Cricut Explore Air 2 to light cardstock. And then in Design Space, it's going to tell you exactly what tools you need. It will tell you what marker you need to load in clamp A and that you need your fine point blade in clamp B. To use the markers and pens, you're going to want to use laser copy paper. This is just the regular paper that you would find at any office supply store. Go ahead and place that on the light grip mat and then load the mat into the machine. Once it's loaded, go ahead and press the Cricut button and begin. The machine is going to start drawing and then it will prompt you to change the marker color in clamp A. Go ahead and swap out the marker color and then press the Cricut button to continue. If your design has several colors, it's going to prompt you each time to change the marker, and after each marker change, you want to press the Cricut button to continue. Once it's done drawing, if you have any cut lines like I do, it will use the blade in clamp B to cut out the design. When it's all done, go ahead and press the double arrows to unload the entire mat. To begin your transfer, first remove away any extra paper from the mat. Then I like to use the Cricut metal spatula to carefully lift up each paper design. And just like before, we're going to use the heat guide to double check the heat settings for this project. Infusible ink markers on a t-shirt are going to be set at 385 degrees for 40 seconds. But just like the tote bag, we're going to need to pre-treat the fabric. This is going to remove any extra moisture and smooth out the garment before the transfer begins. Place your easy press mat down on the table and then place the t-shirt on top of the mat. Place a sheet of white cardstock inside the t-shirt. Then use a lint roller to gently remove any lint that may be in the area where you want to put your image. And then place a piece of butcher paper on top of that. Then place the easy press on top using light pressure for 15 seconds. Once that's done, allow the t-shirt to cool and then proceed to the next step. You're going to take the individual cutout shapes and place them with the marker side down directly on the shirt. Then use the Cricut heat-safe tape to hold each design in place. You want to make sure your designs do not exceed the size of your plate. If they do, you're going to have to do this in a few sections. Place a clean sheet of butcher paper on top and then put the easy press on top of that. Use light pressure for 40 seconds, and then when it's done, carefully hold the butcher paper with one hand and lift the easy press directly up and allow the garment to cool slightly. Then carefully remove the tape and paper designs on the shirt. This will reveal your infused design. You can repeat this if you want to add more designs to other parts of the t-shirt or the back. Just make sure you use clean butcher paper every time to avoid ink from bleeding into other areas. Then your shirt's ready to be worn. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I can't wait to see what you create with Infusible ink. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I'll see you guys soon.